The small town of Bayport, situated on the Atlantic coast, greeted the dawn with the measured crash of waves against its rocky shore. On this clear day, a team of divers was getting ready for a routine dive. They planned to explore the reefs and show novices the beauty beneath the waves. No one imagined that something truly astonishing and even unbelievable lay ahead. Among the seasoned divers stood out a young but already well-known local instructor named Adam Wells. His colleagues Olivia Brown and Daniel Hagas were also renowned for their professionalism and friendliness. The morning began uneventfully, checking air tanks, testing regulators, and chatting about the weather. The hour was drawing near for them to descend into the crystal-clear water. Once the group finally submerged, everything seemed quiet and serene. Colorful schools of fish swam nearby, while intriguing coral formations lay across the seabed. Adam, accompanied by Daniel and two newcomers, went a bit deeper to examine some interesting fissures in the underwater rock. And then, in the beam of their underwater flashlights, a large figure flickered into view. Looking closer, Adam realized a large shark, about 3 meters long, was heading toward him. Typically, sharks don't show much interest in people and prefer to avoid them, but this time things were different. Observing from a distance, Olivia noticed that the shark wasn't simply swimming past but was heading straight for Adam. She managed to signal caution, but there wasn't enough time for further alerts. The shark approached the young instructor almost directly. Adam's heart pounded, as an encounter with such a large predator always carries risk. But, to his surprise, the shark didn't appear aggressive. It actually seemed to press against him sideways, displaying the upper part of its body. Daniel, who was nearby, sensed that something was clearly wrong with the creature. Steeling himself, Adam moved even closer and spotted a metallic glimmer near the shark's pectoral fin. It turned out that a massive fishing hook was deeply embedded in its flesh. Evidently, the shark was in severe pain, which had driven it to seek help from the divers. From this moment on, events unfolded so rapidly that there was no time for lengthy instructions. Moving carefully, Adam raised his left hand to indicate that Daniel should prepare a knife and some underwater first aid gear. During this, Olivia was filming, keeping at a slight distance to avoid interfering but still capture what was happening. Incredibly, it seemed the shark understood the diver's intent. It slowed its movements as if waiting for them to remove the foreign object. Adam carefully placed his hand on the injury. At the first touch, the shark trembled in pain and withdrew briefly but did not swim away. Collecting himself, the instructor closed in once again and tried to grasp the hook. A forceful tug revealed that the metal was deeply lodged and not going to come out easily. Feeling the fresh contact, the shark made another sudden move but then returned and positioned itself in a way that allowed Adam to continue. Watching in awe, the novices forgot their fear, enthralled by the scene. Finally, acting with the utmost caution, Adam slowly worked the hook free from the shark's flesh. The hook was large, rusty, and stained with dried blood. Clearly, it had been tormenting the animal for quite some time. As soon as the metal was out, the shark behaved in a surprising way. Instead of darting off, it made a slow, wide circle as if checking on what had happened. The team was astonished by this turn of events. Once the shark disappeared into the blue distance, Daniel and Olivia rushed to Adam to ensure he was all right. His hands were still trembling from the stress he had just been through. Meanwhile, Olivia excitedly showed them the footage. On the recording, the enormous shark can be seen calmly allowing a person to remove the hook from its body. The idea that such a powerful predator would voluntarily come to people for help was astounding. For the novices, it was a moment that permanently changed their perception of marine life. When everyone returned to the boat, they couldn't stop talking for a second. Adam recounted how, looking into the shark's eyes, it seemed as if nature itself was pleading for relief from this cruel pain. Daniel remarked that the story showed a non-aggressive side of sharks and their ability to communicate with humans in a critical moment. Olivia, flipping through her photos, kept saying she had never seen anything like it in all her years of diving. The underwater footage soon spread rapidly across social media, sparking a wave of reactions. Many people noted that such cases challenged the entrenched stereotype of sharks as ruthless killers. Some pointed out that sharks are a crucial link in the ecosystem, and if we don't stop recklessly fishing on an industrial scale, not only sharks but the entire marine environment will suffer. Inspired by these events, Adam reached out to local environmental organizations to share his experience and draw attention to the problem of abandoned fishing gear. Under his initiative, a cleanup campaign was organized to rid beaches of net remnants, and there was also an exhibition about the intelligent marine life forms that often find themselves in harm's way. People from all along the coast responded to the call. Some brought in old fishing gear, others reported locations with significant underwater debris, and still others offered material support. Weeks passed, yet the discussions continued. One day, an elderly fisherman named Leonard approached Adam. He admitted that he used to see sharks as foes that interfered with fishing, but the story of the hook changed his outlook. The old man promised never to leave behind lost gear again and even offered his boat to help clean the shoreline. These small but significant steps showed that people can learn from the example of a single life saved. Meanwhile, others from the team kept on diving in those same waters. Holding their breath, they hoped to encounter that same shark again and find out whether she was better after having the hook removed. Of course, no one could guarantee that the animal would return to them, but they continued to believe. After all, if nature had once entrusted itself to their care, that trust might still endure. Before long, folks in the little town of Bayport began to tell stories of a clever shark that had specifically asked humans for help. The tale was embellished or expanded with each retelling, but the core remained the same: a 3-meter shark patiently waiting for someone to remove a terrible hook from her body. The press wrote about the compassion and extraordinary understanding that can exist between two species, usually divided by fear and prejudice. Reflecting on that day, Adam said he now felt a duty to nature. He emphasized that the pain the shark endured from that hook was just the tip of the iceberg. How many other marine creatures fail to find help in time? How many seabirds, dolphins, and turtles are lost to discarded nets and hooks? His words conveyed not only sadness but also determination. If there's a chance to prevent such suffering, we must try. Thus, the campaigns initiated by Adam and supported by Daniel became a regular occurrence. People from nearby towns came to join underwater expeditions to collect debris. Some filmed clips explaining how to properly dispose of fishing tackle, while others wrote letters to officials calling for stricter controls. It's remarkable how one event can shift an entire community's perspective toward more responsible environmental stewardship. A few months later, Bayport had become known not just for its beautiful beaches, but also for its efforts to protect marine life. Social media was full of photos of people tirelessly cleaning the shoreline, finding and discarding hooks, pieces of nets, and other trash. Unsurprisingly, in nearly every post, the story of the shark that came to trust humans made an appearance once again.